Going live. Can you hear that?
Oh man.
Can you hear the music?
Sounds beautiful.
It sounds delightful. It's because it's that time of week where we talk about things and people
It's
think we're
that
mad at
time.
each other.
Yay,
And-
guys, we missed you. Welcome
Yeah.
back to Testing Normal, guys. We are on episode 95.
95.
And it's a beautiful 95 to say the least. To say the least, indeed. But guys, this week a lot of silly stuff went down. There was some really unfortunate and sad and bummer murders that took place in the South, in some, I don't know, massage parlors. Seemed like maybe some sketchy areas.
Wait, what?
Wasn't that like a massage parlor where that guy went and shot 8 people live?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought
that
you were
was.
making some other kind of joke about massage parlors. I don't.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but yeah, a guy was killed. A guy was charged with killing 8 people in Georgia. Which, for anybody out there that's curious, my youngest sister, is currently moving to Georgia. She's on a road trip right now, so she's going into a hot and heavy situation in Georgia. So
I'm
look out.
super happy for them, but also at the same time super angry. I wish they wouldn't have moved.
I know. I'm gonna miss them.
Not that I hung out with either one of them that often. But
Well, but
when
to be
we
fair,
did,
Jordan.
I
To be
liked them.
fair, your youngest sister lived in Georgia as well for,
Yeah.
I think, 8 years, 7 years?
Too long.
Something like that.
Too long.
But, this is what I say. Anytime someone moves out of a state and is living in another location, it doesn't have to be forever. You don't have to stay there forever. And think of it maybe as an adventure. You're going to a new place, times change, situations change.
Is this the
so
advice you gave her? Like,
this is my saying I'm happy with your guys' choices, but I'd be stoked to have you back whenever you're ready. That's all.
right.
That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah.
You find what you're looking for
That's right. That's
in
right.
your
If
adventure.
it's an accordion, that's cool too. But
Yeah.
getting back to this real quick, it was a
I have a
white.
TIL about something like that. I'm
Oh,
excited to get to.
I'm excited to
Wait,
hear that.
I think I do. I may not.
But so
I do, yes.
the gunman. What happened was this Wednesday, a gunman killed 8 people at 3 different Atlanta area massage parlors, and that is what's kind of kicked off a lot of this concern over the Asian American community, because the majority of the people in the massage parlor were Asian that were killed. And so I don't honestly know enough about the situation, enough about why the guy's motives were, and what the entire situation was surrounding that. Anyways, regardless, to say, thoughts and prayers go out to those families. The death and killing sucks. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's awful. But that was a crazy thing that happened this week that we at least needed to acknowledge, I think.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that. Was he trying to Was he?
Yeah, he was frustrated about something. I don't know if anybody out there knows specifically if they had listed. They said that so according to the AP, AP News says that the shooting appears to be at the based on some type of, I don't know, xenophobia, misogyny.
I get so mixed up with all the different words.
They're thinking that it probably was related to a hate crime.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
assume that if someone's willing to
I'd be
do
surprised.
at least violence, that they're upset. There's something that's upset them, and I would say that equates with hate. If it
And
doesn't,
when I say, yeah,
if it doesn't
and I
revolve
guess
around race, I would
obviously hate.
then
Obviously
whatever.
hate.
It's just,
Yeah.
but they clearly have some issues, and I would say all crimes that are
Yeah.
violent should be
Oh, okay.
considered hate crimes.
Yes, definitely a hate crime for sure. It says here the sheriff that's investigating this or taking the lead on it said that Sheriff Frank Reynolds said it was too early to tell if the attack was racially motivated, but he said the indicators right now are it may not be. So it might have been that he was just a screwed up weird dude that decided to go kill people. But anyways,
Yeah.
super sad, bummer situation.
So I was curious because I know I've heard it used in context a ton, but going back to xenophobia, because people, that's a word people have been throwing around a lot. They're like, you're a xenophobic.
Mm.
The actual literal definition, watch, they'll change it on me as I do this, but from Webster's dictionary is the fear and hatred of strangers or foreigners or anything that is strange or foreign. I would say a lot of people fall into that category of at least like
For sure.
fear towards
Fear
the
towards
unknown
outsiders or
or
unknown.
like things that they don't trust or something like that. I don't know that. I know that we morph how words are used all the time and everything, but I feel like that's a word. It's just been a clickbait word lately that people have
Mm.
been throwing around. It's like if someone's a racist, just call them it. Like that's fine. And
So
there are people that are, but
Jordan Ort made a really good comment. He said that he told the police, the
she.
perpetrator. No, the guy. He told police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were calling Jordan or
No, no,
he.
no, no. The the culprit told police that he has a sex addiction and he
Oh,
blamed the massage parlors for perpetrating it or something along those lines. Or for like perpetuating his
yeah,
sex
making it
addiction.
worse. Like he can't make his own
Well,
decisions.
I mean, yeah, that's like, bro, you went to them, man. Like you went to them to get that situation
Yeah.
out of control, bro. That's like blaming. I guess it's kind of in a way of blaming maybe like a drug dealer for your drug addiction,
Well,
kind of, right?
and rightfully, like there is some fault there because they're selling an illicit substance or whatever. Although in this case, some of those I would say are not really legal. They're kind of skirting the legal line, but you know,
Yeah,
so but anyway, I kind of get what he's saying, but at the same time, dude, that's not how you fix your problems. Like you would get charged for murder if you went and murdered your drug dealer too, even though they
yeah,
were selling an illicit
yeah,
substance. So
yeah. If you went and killed 8 drug dealers, you'd be considered a serial
you
murder.
might have some people who think you're a hero, but also you're gonna have a lot of people who
Uh,
don't think you're a hero,
yeah, you'd be
and
an awful person for
those
sure.
are going to be the people that you want to think you're a hero.
Yeah,
So just don't go.
don't be as don't be a zero, be a hero, guys. Okay.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's that's what we're here to say. Yeah. Don't do that.
Well, also, what another thing that's really important that I want to make sure people, if they take anything from this podcast this week, don't collude with the Russians to try to put ransomware on a U.S. company. Okay, that's been
Oh my
happening a
gosh.
lot lately, and just this past week, um,
Yeah, I just saw the headline to this article. I have not read about this at all, so
so
I'm
just this
excited to
past
hear.
week, a 27-year-old Russian named Igor Kryashkov.
Quite the name.
Amador says too late. He already did Amador.
He already
Um,
what?
he said too late. He like colluded with the Russians. Um,
Oh crap. Yeah, and
um,
that's how he got his new car.
yeah, that's well maybe. But this 27-year-old pleaded guilty on Thursday in Reno, Nevada, because he offered an employee from Tesla to place ransomware. He offered them $1 million to place ransomware in the computer network of the company's battery plant in Nevada.
Really?
And so the ransomware was basically aimed at stealing information and or locking users out of the Tesla, facility
Right.
and programs, and then the attackers could get private information, maybe secret, kind of patented information, whatever, and then also demand large, like basically ransom money, sums of money for in order to like to release to end the hack.
Right.
So what happened though is that this Russian guy, he in kind of went to what did he do? He went and he had traveled from Russia to the United States and he had went on a tour. Yeah, he was on a tourist visa, okay? And he had gone and done like a tour of the company or something. And then one of the employees, he said, "Hey, I would love to take you out to lunch." And so he took the guy
Really?
out to lunch and like then took him like and kind of like wined and dined him. And then basically at the end of the hangout session, the Russian guy was like, "Hey, I will give you $1 million if you take this ransomware and put it in your computer software program. What's amazing about this, and they're saying that right now the State Department hasn't said if he's actually related to the Russian government,
Right.
but where I would be surprised if he's not is because how would he know to specifically focus on this individual that would have the capacity to upload that information to the Tesla software or hardware or whatever? Like, so I think it would take some in-depth knowledge of who's working and what they're doing
Right.
to be able to upload that software, that malware,
Yeah, and Tesla's a pretty locked down system too. Because I remember there was a Joe Rogan episode quite a while back where the guy was working on the waterlogged Teslas and building parts and stuff to refurbish them, and he said his was not connected and never could be because it had been marked as destroyed, and so it couldn't use some of the services that were with Tesla and would never be able to because of
Oh,
that,
wow.
because their system is locked down. So it would be pretty hard to get ransomware in there, although it's been done. I mean, we saw it during the election when that stuff came up with the solar wind stuff, getting it into the updates. So it's doable,
Right.
but that's a really complex ransomware.
Advanced ransomware.
Yeah, it's not just like, I found your password to Facebook and hacked you sort of situation. So
Well, and that's something that also kind of makes me not necessarily reconsider, but pause a little bit as we have developed more technologically advanced vehicles. The risk of foreign nations
it's kind of
hacking
scary.
and intervening in our driving. It's like, man, it might be better to just have this old ghetto pickup or this old SUV in the driveway that nothing could hack it.
Right. Yeah. That's
It's kind of
a
terrifying.
super good point. Yeah. Our comments thing is not working tonight, so I can't. For some reason, it says I can share them, but it's not working. So we can't post.
Oh,
we can't bring
shoot.
comments
Sorry,
up.
guys.
It's annoying.
We'll read them out to you guys, though.
But yeah, we will call them out as you do them, and they're not. They updated their pages this week, and clearly it's not like ironed out yet. So that's super fun. So did you see? And maybe you don't want to talk about it. It's cool, and if everyone's like, don't make fun of him, but did you see Biden unable to walk up steps to his plane?
Well, first of all, if you're on the world stage, then you should expect people to make fun of you.
True. Good point.
But I did see him tripping, but I didn't see like I think I saw it in passing, so I didn't like examine it in detail. Like, was it like did he fall down something?
He totally fell like 3 times in a row walking upstairs. And it's coming off of a week where he accidentally for like the second or third time called Harris President Harris, and then forgot last week the name of like a major person. So like I'm thinking at this point is like, did we talk about the whole age thing? Like we did. We said regardless if you agree with him or not, he's a zillion years old. Isn't there anyone else that you could put up? And they apparently picked his VP that he didn't even like. She didn't even like him. Like, it's just all just super strange at this point.
Yeah.
So when he comes for your guns, just put them upstairs. He can't touch them. Good one, Amador. Good one. Yes, that's a super good point.
Funny.
Or, and I don't have a picture of this. Oh, maybe I do. I'd have to find it. Someone got, this is not even in our notes, but it was because I was like reading about it just like shortly ago, and I sent it to a friend of ours, and it was someone got caught, like a drug dealer got raided, and they found guns and stuff, and then they found a Nerf gun that was a Glock. Like it looks legit like a Nerf gun. Like when you pull off the shelf.
Okay.
But if you look really close at the handle, it's not. It's
so somebody
fully
like
a Glock.
disguised a real Glock as a Nerf gun.
Yeah, I'm gonna find a picture of it.
But usually what we hear about, right, is the opposite. Like somebody has a Nerf gun and they try to make it look like a real weapon. That's pretty sneaky.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So,
clever actually. So
check
they put
this
like
out.
they painted
Look at
like
that.
oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah. legit, right?
That looks
Like,
so legit, like a Nerf gun.
yeah, but if you look real close and you are a gun person, which I am, love me or hate me, but look right, so look right here. There's the mag release for the
Hmm.
Glock. You can tell it's a Glock trigger. Here's a Glock release. You can even see the Glock slide underneath, but it's been powder coated this orange color. And then this is a Glock
So
handle, and
wait,
there's
somebody
even
got that like taken away from them?
well, it was a raid, a drug dealer raid,
Whoa.
and they
That drug dealer had a lot
they found this. So this actually is a legit stock. It's not a stock. It's an arm loop. Okay? And it's legal with pistols. It straps to your arm and works kind of like a stock, but it's still legal. So this isn't actually an illegal weapon
right.
per se, because it's not a pistol with a short barrel, or it's not a short barrel rifle, and it's not a pistol with a stock based on ATF law. So they didn't actually break the law with this gun. I would say it's not a super smart idea to carry around, but they're not breaking any laws with it, but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I've never heard of somebody going from Nerf to real weapon. I've only heard people pretending that a Nerf gun was a real weapon.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Oh,
That's
David
wild.
says the memes have been hilarious. Nobody can deny that. Biden
Yeah.
falling up.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
For the trip.
Yeah. He's like, and he
Yeah.
keeps falling. Like it just keeps getting worse. And it's, yeah.
It,
The only
it's
thing that,
interesting though. Think about how many presidents, because there was an episode where I think Trump tripped a little bit too, and then his
everyone
hair.
trips.
But every presidential candidate, it's funny how big of a deal people make when presidents trip, or when people running trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Hillary, I think she fainted though. I think hers wasn't a trip. I think hers was like almost passing out or something along those lines.
She would
But
faint if she stood up too fast.
yeah, yeah. But this is what we get when we have presidents that are in their 70s
Well, and that's the
and
thing. Is
80s.
if it was
Like,
just him
they're not
tripping,
as stable.
if it was just him tripping, that's just one thing. Like everyone trips. Everyone trips and
Right.
falls. I don't care how gracious you are, how coordinated you are, whatever. You trip and fall at some point in your life. Maybe not as often as some people, and some people just fall over. It's fine. But when it comes to, this, along with some of the other like definite cognitive declines that we've seen with this dude, it's just like, come on. Like are we
Yeah.
serious?
Well, okay. A couple thoughts are: my dad made a comment, said that Gerald Ford once fell down from
I
Air
saw
Force
that.
One.
That's
So
amazing.
that's pretty wild. That's pretty
Yeah.
wild.
But he was old too, I thought.
Yeah.
For
And
the
we've also
time,
had-
he was probably
we've
like
also had
34,
presidents that are
but-
like wheelchair bound as well.
Yeah. Which we're not
but-
against.
Nothing against that. But it might not be a bad idea unless you have a known disability that there would be some type of. I know the presidents go through a physical exam and they release that information supposedly, but
Supposedly.
I think it wouldn't be a terrible idea if there was some type of like
Fitness test.
American Ninja Warrior kind of competition that also qualified them for like higher points for when they like were running for president. So like if you make it through American Ninja Warrior, okay, we know that you're physically capable
Yeah.
to.
Well, it's like
protect
the
our-
army. Even if you're going to be in signal or computer or whatever, you have to pass a physical test.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
yeah.
because like no matter what, like you need to be able to like get out on your own power and not drag someone else down
Yeah.
or something like that.
Right.
And I guess as president, like it probably wouldn't have to be as stringent, but like I bet that dude can't pass anything. Like there's
Well,
no
and-
way.
But Mr. James Gill made a great point. He said, "I think there should be a maximum age limit to presidency as well.
I'm
if
down.
there's a minimum, right? If there's a minimum age limit, then it makes sense that we are saying physiologically there's a reason why we don't let people be
Yeah.
president too early because of mind development. Then perhaps because of the risk of mind deterioration, there shouldn't be after.
There's
certain age.
actually, besides age, not a lot of limitations on who can be elected president.
Yeah,
It's
you just have to
shocking.
be
There's actually,
native
when
born.
I was looking at it, it's like some of the least amount actually of requirements.
Okay, here's a question. Does anybody out there, if you guys can look this up, I know that you have to be a native born,
Yep.
like, or of a
You have to be a
parent
citizen.
that's native born.
Yeah.
Well, but you can't
No.
like become a
I'm saying you
citizen.
have to be a born citizen, but I'm saying like
Yes.
say your parents were missionaries and you were born in
Yeah.
Papua New Guinea, you could
Right.
still be president, like
Yeah.
because your parents are
Born
both.
citizen.
Yeah.
Over the age of 35, right?
Yep.
Over the age of 35, and I don't think you can ever have had a felony. I
I
think
don't know that that's true
I'm not sure on
because you
that.
don't have to pass a security clearance.
Really? You sure?
Pretty sure.
And a felon.
Because
run for
here's the
president.
deal: would Biden have passed the security clearance with all the tapes with Ukraine talking to him about embezzling money with his son? I don't think so.
Oh, you know what? You're right. A felon. Yes, a person convicted. Yep. A person convicted of a felony can run for presidential office in America.
Yep.
Um,
You do not have to pass anything.
wow.
I mean, he had warrants out for himself in the Ukraine for cheating their country out of money with his son, and everyone just buried it and said elect him president. So
Yeah.
clearly it's possible.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So some governors, some states allow felons whose offense was 10 years or above to run for office as well. So states are actually
Harder
more strict
or more strict,
on on their requirements than actually federally is.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but Texas is an exclusion for that. Texas says that the state indicates that anyone that has a conviction for bribery, forgery, perjury, and other high crimes may be excluded from holding public office.
Those are smart ones. Texas, those are smart ones because those are the people you really
forgery.
don't want there. Murderers, those are okay. But like people who are embezzling and cheating people out of money, don't let them
Well,
be
because
the
you're at a
worst.
higher level of white crime at that point, when you get
True.
to a
Yeah. So speaking
House
of
of Cards.
speaking of Russia and colluding with them, what about this Russia thing and Twitter? Like them saying, "Hey, if you don't pull down this child pornography in the next 30 days, we're going to ban you in our country." Why have not Okay, number 1 I have to ask, why is it on there to begin with? There's no way the people that they've been canceling off of there for saying things that they say aren't true, that they quote unquote fact check but really don't, just send them to a splash page. And, Facebook, Twitter, both been doing that. And it kind of looks like they just don't like people who liked Trump, with those are the people getting banned. But with this, Russia, of all the countries, are saying this. Number 1, why aren't other countries joining them and asking for this? And number 2, why is Twitter refusing?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Actually, I'll
And-
reverse those questions. The first question is, why is Twitter refusing to remove this? Because if you go look at the details, at least of this article, it's a 17-year-old boy who got faked into thinking that he was sending lewd photos of himself to a teenage girl who was also sending him photos. Turns out that it was a group that was blackmailing him or getting ready to blackmail him and say, "Hey, you need to send more, or we're going to send these to your pastor, your parents, your school," and then went further and said, "We want you to engage in acts with other underage people and send us those pictures and videos, or we'll do it as well." That's what this group was doing, specifically.
And Twitter wouldn't take it down.
And Twitter has said that it does not break their policies, and they will not do it.
Well, that just sounds like a gross misuse of their policies. That's wild. That's crazy.
It sounds weird.
It sounds like Russia.
I don't know what it is.
I agree with Russia. I think it's great. I have a little bit of a concern anytime I hear Russia taking away
doing
anything where there's a potential for freedom of speech being limited, only because they have that whole communist history, right?
Right.
And what my dad made a good comment. He
I
said
saw his comment.
felons can't have guns, but can have nukes. That's a good point. Presidents, that's a wild.
True.
And Tomahawk missiles and whatever all the other weapons are. But another crazy thing about Russia, a couple other things I wanted to say real quick. Does anybody out there, do you guys know that Russia has been in a steady decline of its population? It has continued following birth rates. And they were trying to figure out exactly why. But some of it is that they have a lot less immigrants are trying to move to Russia, so they don't have as much like immigration to Russia because
Yeah.
people are like it's a little bit sketchy out there, man. Um, and then a lot of the what's called the wartime generation are past the reproductive age, and so that's causing a continued decline in population as well. So it's kind of an interesting change in world demographics to think about this superpower as a having a steady decline in population. When you think about China, China is you know a superpower that's continuing to grow, and their population is in the billions. It's kind of a wild dichotomy there.
Right. Crazy.
Let's see here. So, on a side note, guys, I wanted to throw out there a good thing, an encouraging thing that I've was reading about with this current mRNA vaccine. Um, a silver lining to the expedited research for the vaccination was the amount of money and um, improved resources researchers have had with mRNA vaccines. And the current Pfizer mRNA vaccine is what's really interesting about it. It was actually Pfizer basically teamed up with a German company called BioNTech. And BioNTech originally was using this mRNA technology not for vaccine purposes. It actually was not started by this company for the purpose of COVID or viral immunization. It was actually they were focusing on tackling cancer with the mRNA vaccine, with mRNA injections. And they were looking
Can I
at
say something real quick that
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
always
yeah,
makes me think of it?
yeah.
I want you to continue on because I want to hear what you have to say. But whenever we talk about this and editing things and the way that mRNA works, at least from what I've read and everything,
hmm
it really gives me scares about I Am Legend.
Oh yeah,
Because they're trying to do cancer, he was trying to do cancer, and then like
yeah.
he ends up
I mean,
getting eaten by a crazy werewolf person or something. Like,
yeah. I could see the similarities in movies. But if we were worried about every movie we saw emulating or resulting in what actually happens in the real world, we would never leave our front door, I'm sure. Um,
goes for masks too.
yeah. So what's really cool though is that they were having a lot of success in this basically helping your body create an immune response to cancerous cells. And so the amount of extra money that's come into this because of the fact that they were able to transition this to the COVID virus has allowed them to basically expedite some of their cancer treatments and research. And so they're basically saying, it's not guaranteed for all cancers, right? Like they have to probably find a different way of treating different cancers with different types of antibodies. But how amazing would that be if we were able to curb the treatment of cancer instead of chemotherapy, which you want to talk about something that creates, a
Your dad's
mutant,
full of facts tonight.
something that creates a mutant, then
Yeah.
start giving somebody chemotherapy. Their skin starts, peeling and they start vomiting and like you want to talk about something that's harmful for somebody. You're
Yeah.
shooting poison into your body. So if you can treat somebody with an injection of a antibody that kills the cancer, my God, what an amazing blessing that would be for so many people. So
Right.
that's a really cool, hopeful thing that I hope that the research continues to promote. So
Yes, that would be
wanted to
cool.
throw that out there. What was he saying?
He said, did he delete it? He did. Someone did.
Oh, vodka reduces sperm count.
Yeah, it's not there anymore for me.
No, I see it.
Oh.
Yeah. So he said that's why Russia has a decreased population. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm down. It seems to pass the tests.
Dude, tell me about this. Tell me about what was going on in Britain.
Wait, what was that?
Something with the nuclear weapons.
Dude, yeah. So it was this week. We chatted about this. We texted back and forth about this.
Yeah, I remember hearing.
saying how this just kind of looks bad. Britain is increasing its Trident nuclear warheads by 40%, citing rising global threats. That's,
What in the world?
yeah. So I always tell people this, like, if they have a problem with, say, for example, Biden or a decision that a president makes or something, you may not agree with it on the outside, and that's fine. It doesn't largely matter except when you're voting. But sometimes when we go to war, sometimes when we get out of war, sometimes when we choose to do things, it's for reasons we can't see.
Mhm.
Sometimes when these things happen and you go, whoa, that's not good, it's for reasons that we can't see. And why else would he make this announcement
Ooh.
if it wasn't for something that we just couldn't see yet?
Oh man. And this is what I'm really hoping it is, guys. I'm really hoping it's some form of alien threat. Right?
But okay, but we all
Wouldn't
know
that
that
be so
we
much
all
better?
know from all the movies we watch that nuclear missiles do nothing. They just bounce off of aliens.
According to Independence Day, that's correct.
And in like other things too, didn't they try it in like Close Encounters of the Third Kind? What ended up winning was music, and we saw that in Rick and Morty too. Like that's
Wait.
what
What was that? What was that from? Not Rick and
uh,
Morty. What was the other movie?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Music? I don't
It
remember
was
that.
like that's how they communicated, like boom, 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 and then they like coming to like back to
Yes.
them, and then all of a sudden they were able to talk, and the guy mashed potatoes in the hill, and blah, 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 this is the answer. Like that's we all know that's what happened. So it's nukes. Nukes is not for aliens. We've got
Well,
other stuff in space for
I'm
aliens.
really hoping it
Lasers
is
are in space, not nukes.
because, and I think we all would agree, if there was
It's
imminent,
because of Russia and China. He did say that. He did
right?
specifically say rising between Russia and China. And we talked about this last week.
But the
It's
stupidest thing about that is that it would do it with two nukes in the world.
yeah.
I mean, like, so it doesn't matter if you increase your arsenal; it does no
Well,
benefit
it
out
it
of
matters if you
already
don't
have
if you
mutual
don't
destruction.
yeah, if you don't use them, it's a show of force, which is fine. You if no one if somebody says I don't agree with that, I call your bluff because we do it all the time. Like there's always a show of force can either make you feel safe or can make you safe. And hopefully you never have to use it. If you walk around with the gun on your hip, most people are not going to bother you. Like it's true. And you may even have to put bullets in the gun. It's just a show of force. So, and a lot of times the nuclear warheads aren't armed. They don't have anything in them. They're just there and ready. So, but getting more, I'm like, I don't necessarily disagree. If there's a threat, I don't think we should use nuclear
It doesn't
missiles.
seem like it.
But
Here's why it's stupid. I'm sorry, I gotta just say this. It doesn't add any extra defense to your arsenal. If you already have 100
right.
nuclear weapons, adding 40 more nuclear weapons is basically just wasting money. You could use that
But then there's a
for
potential to give them to other people. So you could be stockpiling to share, essentially. So I get it. I don't think we should go into nuclear war. It's like mace. Like if you use mace, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get maced too. Like you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you're gonna get some back spray. Like
Well,
if you don't throw a hand grenade far enough, you will get hit by the hand grenade too. Like
this is actually a perfect transition into what I've been wanting to talk about. I've been wanting to add this moment into the podcast
do it.
at some point.
I have no idea
And
what this is.
it all ties back to the need to have unfortunately, a common enemy for the human race and or a common challenge that we all can team up on, right? And the perfect example of this was
Or
in
competition.
a competition that would be for the benefit of all. It would have to be.
Well, my example would be like the space race.
Yeah.
That did benefit everyone in the sense that it pushed technology ahead.
Right. But a good example of the human race teaming together would be in 1985 during the Geneva summit. And we were in the Cold War in 1985, or we were like, in the later stages of it basically.
Right.
But President Ronald Reagan and the Soviet Premier Gorbachev took a private break in from negotiations and they just took a little walk. And one of Gorbachev's assistants or whatnot was there with them, and he heard this conversation. And so this has been reported, and you'll find it on several different websites. But I wanted to just read this out to you, what Reagan and Gorbachev had said to each other. So President Reagan started talking to Gorbachev, and Reagan asked Gorbachev, he said, "What would you do if the United States were suddenly under attack by someone from outer space? Would you help us?" And Gorbachev says to Reagan, he says, "No doubt about it." And then Reagan says, "We too." And then the assistant was walking back with Gorbachev, and Gorbachev looked over at the assistant and said, "Well, that was interesting." And then him and Gorbachev started laughing. Like, that was crazy.
I think so what I liked about him and what I like about presidents who are from his, even honestly, things that I liked about Trump was that they don't think like a career politician. It's like, and I don't think there actually should be career politicians. I think it's stupid. I think it's been the detriment of a lot of things that we've done as a country. I think that people should get in, serve their time, just like the military. Get in, serve your time, you're done. Like, you serve two 4-year terms, two 2-year terms.
Congress. Yeah.
Yes, even intelligence, I would go as far as to say those are unelected lifetime officials with powers that sometimes surpass the president. And that's scary. And so there's certain things that can go on there that we as the people can't control. And if we're supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people, then we should be made up of actual people. People who have had jobs, people who have had businesses, people who have done done something. We have a president right now who's literally done nothing but what he's doing right now.
Other than public service.
Right. But there's a ton of if you look at the people who were like head on their shoulders, maybe they're a little gruff. Like Trump was mean. I mean, like people got annoyed at him because they said he was mean. But like policy wise and everything, he made some really, really smart decisions. And there's other people
especially with China.
Yeah, and like you have the governor of like DeSantis, I think it's in Florida. Like some of the things he responds with are so off the cuff. He's a lot more smooth than Trump, by the way. Tons more smooth. And he'll just say like, "That's not what we're talking about." And just like look him.
Who was?
I think is it DeSantis? I can't remember. Whoever the Florida governor is.
The Florida governor, right?
Yeah, and he's just like, "No, that's not what we're talking about," or no, this is not the way that it should be. And it's just like, boom, straight to the point. Like, very, very, very. No, like it's not unpolished like I would say that Trump was, but it's like it's very firm and authoritative and like, hey, that's not your place to even be pointing in that direction.
He's also of reasonable age too.
Yes,
like he's kind of like, I mean,
which is what we need.
Sharp.
And people like that who are like, I mean, the perfect person really is going to be like a libertarian Republican. That's what our country needs right now.
Libertarian.
It's so like there's a mix there that goes really, really well hand in hand. Like it actually, like, I wouldn't say all Republicans don't care about people. I think that they do. They just are way more economic focused, which isn't a bad thing. But a libertarian is going to be kind of a mix of both. And
they're going to have more social, more socially liberal.
I had this discussion the other night with a friend that the term moderate to a lot of people says like I'm in the middle, like or undecided or whatever. In my mind, moderate is someone who swings like is off topic, doesn't follow partisan lines on certain things, or has different ideas that don't really fit one of those two boxes. And that's what we need. And these far left wackos, they just need to go.
Well, let me just
Mars,
say something that I really liked when we relating to at least national finances and accumulating resources. Yeah. I really liked a comment that Elon Musk made this last week. So Bernie Sanders had made a tweet, and he said, I'll read the tweet. He said, "We are in a moment in American history where two guys, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, own more wealth than the bottom 40% in this country. That level of greed and inequality is not immoral, it's unsustainable. Okay. Now, there are things actually to that comment, to that tweet, where I say, okay, I can see where he's coming from in certain areas of it. But what I really liked is Elon Musk's reply to that. So he tweeted back to Bernie Sanders, Elon Musk did. And Elon Musk said, I am accumulating resources to help make life multiplanetary and extend the light of consciousness to the stars. So he basically, what he responded back was, okay, you are assuming I am having greed, but I am one of the only people in the world that is using wealth to better humanity. And despite what our own national government and ran NASA programs, they haven't been able to accomplish half of what I've been able to accomplish basically in the past, 50, 60
They said what
years.
he's doing now was impossible.
Right. Yeah.
So
a lot of credit to Elon Musk. I think, no, I can't speak to Jeff Bezos necessarily. I don't know what, human progression
I
he's made,
think Bezos is who Bernie's blaming of. And that's the thing, is like there are people who are bad. It's like but
this isn't a new thing. Like,
but here's the thing.
For a country like ours, and a capitalistic country, you're gonna have people that are going to succeed and exceed everybody's expectations. I mean, look at the Carnegie. You look at all these different, mega company starters back in the industrial era.
You don't even have to look that far though, because you can't. In order to make the comment that Bernie made, you have to have a moral amount of money in your head. So what is that? I haven't found anyone that can name that money.
A net worth where you feel like it's socially.
Yeah, when is it greedy? Is it $100,000 a year? Is it 150, 250, 350? Because I'll tell you this: Bernie averages about 1.7 every 2 years. So is he too greedy? Should he even be saying that?
Well, that's the irony in the situation. Exactly. It's like there's a level of relativity to that statement of my wealth is significantly lower than Bernie Sanders, and yet he's calling out greed in someone that makes more than him.
The Bernie meme that happened, right? The gloves he's wearing are more expensive than most people's entire outfit.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, when he was at the what was that? The presidential...
At the presidential inauguration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And funny enough, those gloves are from a small business owner who went out of business because the taxes were too high on small businesses.
Yeah.
He bought them as upcycled, or he didn't, they were given to him as an upcycled thing where she made them out of things. She said, I couldn't afford the taxes,
I don't think Bernie's main goal, I don't think his main aim was to necessarily tax higher small businesses. From what I was aware, he wanted to push for large, like people making over like 400
I understand.
million
But like
year.
when you talk about things like minimum wage and the things that they do to attack larger businesses, they actually are able to dodge those, whereas it always ends up hurting the smaller business. So it ends up hurting the people that he's saying aren't greedy in his eyes.
Well,
and then he's got to say what is a moral amount for someone to be taxed and what's a moral amount of money. If you can't answer those two questions and be solid about it,
that's an interesting.
That's
a good question.
I don't buy.
Well, and then
I think you're just jealous.
And then you also have to look at from not only a national perspective of what's a moral amount of money to be able to make, but what from a world perspective, then 99% of Americans are in the top 1% when you look at from a world perspective, right?
Yeah, even our people that don't have a home, that they're living on the street, are richer technically than a lot of people in the world.
Right, the cost of living is higher.
That doesn't mean. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like it's all relative, and I think that's where the discussion needs to go when it comes to like borders. Like people are like, well, aren't we supposed to be the people that let these people? Shouldn't we be willing to help everyone? It's like, hang on, back up. Let's make it a really small question first, so you can answer that question. Because answering hundreds of thousands of people per month is a little bit of a complex question for anybody, including Joe Biden, who can't walk upstairs. If you're on a plane and it starts to go down, and one of the windows blows out, and the masks drop, do you put yours on first, or do you put the person on next to you, even if it's your child? And what do the instructions say to do?
They tell you to put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye because nothing's gonna
Use
help you.
Yeah,
The
but I'm
flame's
saying
going
like
down.
you put your own mask on first. Like that's the
Right.
most important because if you don't,
Yeah.
you can't help other people. And
Right.
if that can't happen, then you can't help anybody. Like, it- there. So there's.
It's a difficult transition.
It's like if we all
When you
donated our
get to
money to the rest of the world, would they not be poor? But yeah, then what do we do? Like people are going to stop working because they don't
well, the
get the
thing
money
is,
that they
it
earn.
is
Like,
true that one nation, one state, one country cannot support the entire world, right?
no,
It has to be a group effort. And this is where I'm going to get back to this a little bit. This is where the risk and the need for our country to be a certain level of, and this sounds bad, but a certain degree of selfish when we are competing with other world powers
every
that
country
are
should be though.
that are trying to basically hurt us. And
Right,
that's just the fact is the truth. Like China is trying to hurt the United States. Russia has proven that it's tried to hurt the United States, whether it's
right.
directly or indirectly. So there's a level of nationalism that we have to take in consideration. But when you're dealing with countries such as, this is a sensitive subject, and I'm not speaking that I know all of this and all the details and all the best ideas by any stretch of the sense. But when you're dealing with countries like, Mexico or other South American countries where we have immigrants, those countries aren't necessarily, I don't believe, of nefarious intent like these larger superpowers are. So I have more empathy for trying to help those countries rather
Yeah.
than seeking
So
resources for
I
other
would
ones.
say to further that the numbers have shown this in the last at least few months. A lot of the people coming through that border, and this is
Hmm.
what's dangerous because they don't necessarily guard what they do either. A lot of them coming through are coming from other countries that aren't Mexico. And
Right, yeah,
because
South
that
American
border
countries.
because that border, well, even further than that, like people come through Mexico to come in through that border and
Right.
are exploiting that. Like I'm,
Yeah.
it might be unpopular and everything, but it's like I fully think that we need to reform our immigration policies and make it either a quick yes or a quick no. Like
Mm.
because we can't take everyone. That's the thing. We can't economically. You couldn't take that many people in that fast. Like right now, illegal the people coming into this country through the Mexico border alone is 100,000 people.
Well, this is the other thing is,
That's how I got here.
well, to be
Amador.
real, to be honest, yes, 100% Jordan, I totally agree with you. We have to reform the way that people can immigrate into our country, especially from impoverished countries.
Hmm.
I think that's the key thing. From impoverished countries, we have to find a way of reforming the time and the resources it takes to be able to immigrate to here. Because if you come from a family in a hut and you have no money, no resources, no way to buy a lawyer to be able to go through the paperwork and pay for all that stuff, it's a really, it's not a good system in that area. But to the same extent, if I was growing up in Juarez or some area and I had no chance of a decent life, and I
Hmm.
was knew that, or I knew my kids were gonna get, taken out by the cartel, I would do everything in my power to get them a better life and to do whatever I had to
I'm
do
not
for
saying
that.
that I wouldn't either, but speaking from a perspective of if you were to just all of a sudden, wave a magic wand and they're all citizens with the same power and privileges that every other citizen has in this country, that's not going to be good for the rest of the. So if you're playing the whole selfish card of like look out for yourself
Hmm.
first because then you can take care of more people. So the whole mask idea, like putting on the oxygen and figuring out like okay, I need to stay healthy in order that I can help other people, but I can only help so many people. So I can't take in everyone. I totally get trying to get to a
Yeah.
better spot, trying to make it better for yourself. That doesn't mean that the United States is the only answer for those people.
Well,
And
and
it,
the other thing is it might actually end up being cheaper rather than us, especially if we have trend of going towards more socialized programs in the country,
Hmm.
it actually probably be cheaper if we put our resources into trying to help those governments become more self-sufficient and
Right. Yeah.
improving their economy,
And some of
right?
it is they're not willing to. And but
Or they're corrupt.
that's what's
Yeah.
hard is like if there are people here and it's people are saying like it's undocumented worker, it's illegal. Like there's laws being broken, so it's illegal. It's not racist to say it's illegal. If I go do that to any other country, it's illegal for me to do that. And so for that to for that to like all of a sudden just everyone is like okay, we'll just accept everyone that's here just because you broke the law. Like that sets a bad precedence. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know what the answer is. I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree. The
ideally you
reform.
like do a reset and have everyone go back and then have them apply. Make that process a little bit easier. And if you say yes, you say yes. If you say no, you don't say no. You can't say yes to everyone. That's the problem. So people would say
Well,
like, well, that's not a good process. Like, well,
and
we
then the
can't.
other
We
extreme
literally
is
can't.
like the other extreme is to then take over those countries and basically, like it sounds terrible, but like you
Yeah,
basically have to in order to reform those countries, if those countries aren't willing to do it themselves, that's an extreme option, I guess, but
that's playing
so
Risk
yeah,
in
that's
real
playing Risk.
life.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna put my
gosh.
army against your army, and if
uh
I roll a 6 or a higher,
it's complicated, so hard, so complicated. But dude, I'm ready for some TILs. How about you, man?
I am too. I don't think I. Oh, I'm gonna check through because I feel like we touched a lot of stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
Audi's discontinuing the development of combustion engines. That's cool.
Audi. Yeah.
Audi.
That is actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
Be interesting
by
to see if
2035 or something. I think it was. It was a while out, but I think I sent that to you earlier this week. But
and there was a new federal incentive plan that's after the stimulus package has been rolling around, and they're
hmm
talking about incentivizing people to be able to purchase electric vehicles. And when they turn in their combustion vehicle, they'll get like larger than the existing 7,500 incentive, like enough to make it like reasonable for people to actually be able to afford to get the electric vehicle. So that was kind of cool.
yeah, I have mixed feelings about that. I kind of think what they should do, honestly, is stop subsidizing oil and not subsidize the electric stuff and let it play out. See who wins. Let them innovate.
Yeah, I don't know how much they subsidize. How much do they subsidize oil?
I don't know. They do a lot to like it depends on if you count like the wars that we fight to get the oil.
True, that's expensive.
Yeah. It wasn't because we were completely self-sufficient, oil sufficient until we had some executive orders signed a few months ago, literally putting us back into a Syrian war. But it's cool.
Yeah,
Why not go back to fighting wars over oil? It's cool. Bunch of
oil
dead
wars.
dinosaurs.
That's right.
So
All right, I'm gonna hit you guys with my first
that's speaking of
TIL.
that TILs.
TIL. Speaking on that note, this is actually something you guys were probably really curious about, so I'm glad I'm able to bring it to you. Um, Today I learned when relocating adult koalas to populate new areas of the bush in Australia,
Yeah.
the incoming koalas are fed a poo smoothie of local koala poo so they can digest those local leaves. They can acclimate to digesting those local leaves. So they take the poop from the
Oh,
koalas
I
that
get
they're
it.
going to.
I get it.
No, do
I
you
just
understand it though? They take the poop, Jordan,
hang on.
put it in a smoothie,
I'm gonna try to concentrate and really hear you this time.
really
Yeah.
shake it up,
Speaking of
really good.
Australia,
Shh.
because I have a TIL from
Oh
Australia
yeah,
too.
get it.
Okay. There is an Australian fungus called the stonemaker fungus that only shows up right after a forest fire. They live underground in a stone-like mycelium. Is that how you pronounce that? And pop up
Mycelium.
mycelium, and they pop up through the ashes 2 to 10 days after the fire, sometimes as infrequent as every 100 years.
Whoa, that's really cool. So those fungi spores were sitting in the ground for hundreds of
In
years.
like
That's
a cocoon of stone.
that's wild. That's awesome. Wow. Well, I have another Australian kind of thing here. Today I learned that sloths are almost totally blind during the day. In bright light, sloths rely totally on their highly developed sense of smell. Consequently, the greatest number of sloth deaths occur when they go to the ground to poop once a week.
You really just like picked up the animal poop ones
I did. What's
this week.
amazing though is that sloths on average go only once a week.
That's amazing. You know what though? Slow
A lot of
metabolism.
a lot of humans actually only go once a week too though. Did you
Sl-
know that?
I find that shocking and
Yeah.
gross.
A
And I
lot of
don't
people
and
hold it in.
I don't know like why. Like that's gotta hurt. I can't feel good. Drink
I
some
don't know.
water.
I don't know.
That's the problem. They're not drinking enough water at
Well,
all.
or their diet's just terrible.
That is number two.
Yeah.
But it's usually because of water.
So, oh,
Good.
real quick though, I gotta tell you,
Yes.
there's a condition. Speaking of poop, when it, some people intentionally hold in their poop because it feels good. There's a condition called poofor. I think it's actually called like poophoria or something
There's a
like
reason
that.
why
Like,
it's called that. It's not sane. Like
it's not safe. It's not safe.
no.
But there are people that actually intentionally hold it in because it feels good. So I just
Wasn't it
needed to.
you? You always ask the questions like you look around a large room when people
Oh,
could
how
be
much
in a big
crap is in
room.
this
It's
room?
like how much crap is being carried in this room? Like how much weight?
Yeah. Have you not thought about that before?
No, I
It's like
have only because
there's
I've
gonna
hung
be
out with you.
yeah.
Like
There's got to be so much crap in this room.
if
All right, hit
everyone
me,
started urinating right now, how deep would it get?
dude. We're talking Noah's Ark situation.
Today I learned about Bill Millen, a Scottish soldier who walked up and down the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. This was the war one I was talking about. Playing the bagpipes on D-Day on the beaches. Two captured German snipers revealed why the piper at the front hadn't been shot at. They said it was because they thought he was Dummkopf, a foolhardy idiot.
No way. Whoa. That guy had some cojones on him,
He
man.
probably did, and he probably could see him because he's probably wearing a kilt.
Yeah, but he also probably was a little bit not right in the head to be doing that.
It definitely takes a different brand to do that.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
a piece of advertising that I learned about today. Today I learned that the Pan American Coffee Bureau actually coined the phrase coffee break in 1952 and ran a $2 million advertising campaign with the message that a quote coffee break would give workers a needed moment of relaxation along with a caffeine jolt. So the term coffee break was actually an advertisement so people would buy more coffee, which is clever because it's stuck around even to today.
People just like breaks. It doesn't matter what you put in that break. We could literally we could have like coined the term ketchup break,
Yeah, or
and
pudding
people would
break.
have gathered it. Like they would have just flocked to it like the salmon of Capistrano.
Ooh, yes, where the beer flows like wine.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, shower thoughts.
All right. Pressing the lock button on your car key fob multiple times is the grown-up version of saving your game twice.
Oh yes, that's a great shower thought. I love that.
I
It's
was waiting
very
till
true.
there's more beeps than one.
That's really funny. Um, most people probably apologize unnecessarily more often than they apologize when it's necessary.
It's true.
Right? Isn't that interesting?
I think it's because often we don't feel sorry yet. That's just a rushed situation.
Or it's harder to apologize when you really need to sometimes than when it's like just a passing kind of like
I think it's just that
soft thing.
most people are like they don't like conflict,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's harder
they're
to be
trying to
involved in that
they're trying to
conflict.
like ditch out of it sooner, so they're
Mhm.
like doing it when they're insincere. They might be sorry later. They
Yeah.
may not be evil people, but I know there's tons of times where it's like, especially like fights with like a spouse or like a sibling or
Mhm.
something like that. It's
Yeah.
like, just apologize. I just want you to be sorry, but I want you to feel sorry. I was like, well, I don't yet. So
Yeah. Or like
do you
you
want me to
said,
lie?
people are just scared of conflict in some situations too.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like they don't like the idea of someone being angry, so they just jump to it. Forgiveness
Yeah.
takes time, kids. It
Yep.
does. Doesn't happen right away. When you die, people beg you to come back. But when you actually do, all you will hear is screaming.
That's good. I like that. On that note, if we had buried people vertically instead of horizontally, we would have saved so much room we would have saved so much space at,
Probably had less people wash up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, have you ever listened to the podcast Lore?
Love Lore.
Okay. Remember the one about the church where it got too full and they started double burying people and then the dirt got really deep and then they had a flood and all the bodies started floating out from around the church? That wouldn't have happened.
That's so bad. Ugh.
They would have figured something else out. Can you imagine though, like if they didn't float away and all of a sudden there's like half a body, like skeleton sticking out of the ground? That might be more scary. It's like, yeah, just look.
That wouldn't be great. All right, hit me.
Okay. Our brain is the most powerful computer in the world, and no one, not even the owners, being us, have administrative access in it.
Ooh. The only caveat with that might be like a psychiatrist that is doing like some type of like.
Yeah, but you don't have the source code.
You don't have the source code.
You
no,
can,
but
like,
you might be able to tap in and
it,
read some of
you
the
don't
code,
even
maybe.
know what you're doing. You're just like, I'm going to like
true.
cause a fault or something like that. But
yeah.
like,
inject it with malware. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, this is my last shower thought.
Okay.
Let's see, where'd it go? Oh, yeah, okay. So taking down the lost pet signs is either a great moment or a terrible one.
Or we've been rewatching Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, nice.
It could just be that you're annoyed that that sign is there. It's not even your dog.
That would be cruel, but yes.
Yes. Water is never truly yours. It's just your turn to drink it.
Or release it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's constant circle of life, baby. Circle of water.
Circle of
oh
water.
Man, that's good. You got any other ones? Are you done?
I had one, but I think we've done it before.
Oh, okay.
It's just that if we ever went to another planet and Earth got destroyed within a decade, there'd be no Earthers.
That's funny. That's a good one. That's true. Oh, man. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun talking with y'all. We appreciate you guys so much. And
maybe we'll trip and fall on stairs this week.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll get an offer from Russia to, put some hardware in something. And if you suddenly see us like upgrading all of our luxuries,
yeah,
maybe ask if we have any Russian friends. I don't know. Just check it out.
Or like we dealt with Amador.
Or
clearly he's got some ties.
Dude, Amador might be on the old
nice,
Ruski. Got a pretty sweet,
nice new
sweet
car.
New ride.
What is it? Like a Fiat or something?
No, it's not a Fiat. No, what is it? It's like
he's still there to hear that.
I think it's a Volkswagen. I think that's what it is.
VW. No, BMW.
VW, technically. Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like
He's probably freaking out. It's like,
a
no!
late 90s BMW or something.
I honestly don't even remember the name of it. It's such like a unique
Was it a
brand.
Fiero? Could have been.
Oh, boy.
It's not a Fiat.
It's not a Fiat. It's not a Fiat.
Alfa Romeo. There it is.
There it is. Okay. Alfa Romeo. Yeah.
He just
beautiful car though.
It is a pretty car. I still don't understand it. I want to ride in it. I don't know what it is though.
Respect her, he says.
Respect
her. You shut your mouth when you talk about her.
She's got red leather inside. I didn't even know you could get red leather in cars.
I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of cows come in red, so it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, most of the meat that I eat is red. Speaking of, 3 weeks only meat.
3 weeks, baby. Good job, man. That's awesome. You getting a little tired of me, or are you feeling like you're not? It's okay.
It's good. Every once in a while, I want something sweet.
Yeah.
But
a little sugar would be nice. Well, yeah. Maybe a little fruit, but that would maybe throw it off too.
Italians can do anything. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they can do a couple things. But all right, guys, we appreciate y'all. We hope you all have a fantastic week. and we will see you next week.
Yep, we will. And I gotta find the
Peace
outro. See you
to
guys.
the world.